Good evening, Mr. Cisullo. We have met for the first time in Romania during an event initiated by you to the honor of power of women in the Romanian society. The event was called Is Romanian is a She Country? So I'm asking you, is this your belief, and do you think it is valid all over the world?
So, first of all, thank you so much for having me here, Ruxandra.
It's a great pleasure.
It's a great pleasure for me. And I'm enjoying and seeing also now this big facility and what you have here. So I'm very impressed. And so going back to your question, yes, this is my belief that Romania is more a she country than not. And I am still very impressed. I was impressed when we did the event on all the women's which were there of the different businesses and politics and all of that. So I was very impressed, and still I am impressed. So I think, look, Romania has very powerful women's. I think that this is a speciality which not a lot of country has like this in that high percentage, and I think Romania should take also more action to put that forward and to let the Romanian woman helping Romania to get there where Romania wants to go.
Yes, forward.
Yes, forward, you know, and I don't think that this is valid for all the world. It depends a little bit of the capabilities. So in that regard, and that basically brought me also to the place to do this event for this Romanian women's, which was fascinating for me to get them there. And we had, of course, a very nice discussion. And I think we had also with Corina, absolute professional woman who took us
Corina Vințan.
Yeah, Corina Vințan to the who brought us through the whole evening. Yes.
Yes. I want to tell you that you impressed me very much during the evening you organized, when I asked you who was the most important women in your life, and you said, my mother. You impressed all the audience. You impressed me and all the women who was there, because you are so sincere, so powerful, and so credible.
Mm-hmm. And I think that also you were impressed how fast I say this. I didn't have
immediately.
To think about it. Yeah, so
and
that,
powerful,
yes,
and
very powerful. Yes, and my mother was for me, of course, the greatest woman, which was for me, and would have been nice if she would stay still here. She passed away 14 years ago. So, but somehow I think she will observe what we are doing.
Yes. You, Mr. Cisullo, as a global business leader, what made you decide to come to Romania and invest here? Why? How is Romania distinct, and what do you mainly appreciate here?
Yeah. So, as you know, and I have Italian roots. So my blood is Italian.
Latin like us.
Latin like you are. And I'm born in Switzerland. But my blood is Italian. My temperament is Italian, so it's Latin. And I see a lot of similarities to my origin, where I come from, when I look into Romania. People are very nice, very gentle, very warm-hearted, very special in some way, which I think only Latins can understand what that means.
Yes.
And this is one thing which I appreciate, or I mean, impressed me very much by Romania. Then the other thing I also very impressed is that I see how people are working in Romania. So they are basically very distinguished and very hard worker. So this is not really Latin driven, to be very honest. But this is I felt like this. And also the professionalism, how Romanian are working in terms of also their education, which they have. I think you have a past which all this has to be a target to go in another way. and this I can feel very clearly, you know. So I appreciate here many things, as I said to you. The food is also very good, by the way. The food is very good as well, and I think the opportunities which are in Romania, also business-wise, are very nicely. And I thought about that this is something which, it makes me come when I come to Romania. It makes me come like kind of home.
It's a beautiful thinking, and thank you for this thought.
Thank you.
I know that you have set up an operation of your global procurement service provider company, Chain IQ, here in Bucharest, and that you hired almost 100 young talents for your service center. What do you think about Romania's labor force? Do you intend to more involve Romania in your project?
Yeah, exactly. So we opened about exactly 6 months ago. We opened our Chain IQ Romanian facility, our service center, which services our global company in 4 continents and in 12 countries. And we have now exactly 98, I just get a briefing today, young talents which are working for us. And you can see how they like and what kind of atmosphere they are bringing to our company, and how professional they are. So about the Romanian labor force, I think this is very good, what we can see for now. I think it would be, we see a little bit the problem that to get good people, to get people and good people, it's a little bit a challenge. I had last week the ambassador of Romania for Switzerland. We met together for lunch. We discussed this as well. And he just told me that now over 5 million Romanians are working outside of Romania.
Outside of Romania. After Syria, we are the second huge
country
exod in the world.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and this is a kind of good but kind of bad as well. Why the more companies are coming to Romania, the more needs people, and if the people are missing, you know, this is a little bit a challenge. You know,
but it will be a challenge if you hire more people to get the Romanian to come back in their country, in our country.
This is what we talked about as well. What do we do? What do we need to do that they're coming back, you know? So, and I think that these are a little bit a multi-layer situation. Why it's not only that they see that there are good companies in your country, but they also, the salary has to be also in a right way. But the infrastructure, and it's so important, you know.
It's very important.
It's one of if one of the most important. So they are thinking about working in Dubai, in Germany, in Italy, or wherever they are. They say, okay, look, maybe I get 300-400 more, but what is my infrastructure at home? You know, how secure is everything? How are the facilities and so on? So therefore, there is very important that the infrastructure will be built up in a quite fast way. Why this is for this country absolutely important, you know.
Very important.
Especially why you have a history where the infrastructure was not built like this, you know. But if this is seen by everybody, that's a huge potential. And you can go from, I'm not saying from zero to hero, while you are not on zero, but you can go higher to hero.
Higher to hero.
Yes.
You also have a strong interest in the real estate market of Romania. What are your intention and plan in this market, and how do you see the development of this market in the medium term?
Yeah, you know, I think that so I'm very interested in the real estate market. We already invested through another company, through ACC Investments, which is a sister company of Chain IQ, and this is the investment company of my family office group, CC Trust, and so we already invested in residential real estate. We started. We will now go further and look for more projects, more projects which we want to invest. So we are actually exactly right now in the next investment round, which we are looking which kind of real estate would suit in our portfolio. For the moment, residential, but we will also, of course, look about business real estates and so on. So the market, I think, is a good market. Also related to, of course, infrastructure as well. 2008 was the very high crash in Romania about the real estate market, went down by 40%. So from 2008 until now, you recovered about 20%. So
we have to.
Yeah, it's still 20%.
It's more.
20% still missing to be on the top where you have been in 2008. Now imagine what is coming. Also now in 2008, you didn't have so much companies here, so it's increasing as well. So the real estate market in Romania can be easily 50% higher, and also quality-wise, and in terms of also infrastructure-wise, with schools, with banks, with shopping and everything. So the potential is really huge, and I see that in the medium term, if you we have to describe what is medium term, I think that in the next 5 years, if Romania is doing the right movements in what we discussed before, I think the 20% more can be achieved very easily in the next 5 years.
What, from your extensive global experience, could be applied in Romania? How do you see Romania in the next 10 years?
Well, this goes a little bit this question goes a little bit in that what I was saying before as well. Look, Romania is the only country in the Eastern Europe which has a very huge potential. Like Czech, like Hungary, like Poland, they already ramped up everything, so they're quite high pricing and so on. So Romania has room for improvement to get there. I believe that Romania will get there. Of course, I think the political situation is always a very important part of it. But as I said in an interview recently here in Romania, Romania doesn't have to invent the wheel by itself new, There are many good countries in the world which already proved what has to be needed to get in a certain stage. You just have to copy those, This is actually what Romania has to do. So personally, I think that Romania in the next 10 years will be for sure higher, overpassing Poland in terms of quality and in terms of business way of working, and especially why Romanian has this Latin kind of things which will drive Romania faster, or can drive Romania faster to this goal, So again, I think there are a lot of things which are related, macroeconomical situations and so on. We have to understand also, I think Romania have also to see how they are working closer with the EU, with the parliament and so on. But, I think they will get there. So I'm very positive for the next 10 years in Romania, for sure.
This show is called People Who Are Move Romania Forward. I think your simple presence in Romania is a sign, and what you said before is a sign that you have confidence in this country. From an international and entrepreneurial view, what would you advise politicians, Romanian government, business people to do to take Romania forward? What is your advice for the people who are power now in Romania?
Well, first of all, I'm not a politician, and as you said, I'm an entrepreneurial, and I think it would be also very wrong if I would come here and say what they have to do. That would be completely wrong. I think that's that's something which I shouldn't do. But I can tell you what I see in other parts of the world. And if I'm looking like Singapore, if I'm looking like Switzerland, my home market, there are many interesting countries which they're doing great things to become or to remain great, And I think the most important is trust. You have to generate trust among everything you're doing in terms of politics as well. So it's also beside of the trust, you need a clear vision where you want to go. Of course, when now you have the next 2 years is election time. When election time is in every country, there are they are playing around for different stages. This is normal. I think that's okay. But Romania has to prove that they are in a certain way among the lines which EU sets the let's say sets the targets in a certain way. This is very important. But also Romania has to prove that they are not doing very fast decision which can hurt the country very hard. Like Romanian did now, the new taxation of banks and big companies was on my point of view, was a very, very aggressive art to do this. They should think a little bit more about that, how they are treating these kind of new regulations and so on. But as I said before, so important is infrastructure. Infrastructure is everything. I think the social security system here is also in a certain way one of the highest I have seen. Eating a little bit too much, I think. We should bring them back to the workforce. And maybe find other ways and how you can compensate this. So again, I think Romania has a big potential. When I talk about Romania, people outside of Romania, people are a little bit saying, Romania, why are they saying this? Why they feel that the country is like in a kind of not so stable. And stability you can only prove by trust. Building trust. This brings also stability. And when you are a stable country, then other people say, okay, this is a stable country, I'll go in to invest there. If you are not a stable country or not so a stable country, maybe people say, maybe when I invest there, I lose too much or so. This counts for everybody, not only for Romania, but this counts for everybody. And now that Romania has also talkings in the EU Parliament, I think Romania has a very big potential. If they are doing right now in the next 2 years a good job there, they can only win. There is only upside, no downside.
Thank you. Mr. Cisullo, is my last question. How would you characterize the socio-economic and political state of the world today? It's hard, but in a short term, what are the most important factors that drive the world, and how should Romania be prepared for the global challenges?
Yeah, this is a great question, because as global active investor, I usually start on the macro level and work my way down to the local issues. So like social fundamental is core, proportionality in shrinking middle class. This is something which happens everywhere. So middle class is quite like disappearing. We have a rise of populism and productism and radicalism, which you see in many places now, also due to certain presidents of certain states which are just breaking down the good manner, I think, in that regard. We have a new generation facing severance difficulties. Don't forget also the debts which we are giving them to solve. That's very big point. And of course, we have to be very careful with the global outlook. Why today it's very difficult to plan for the next 5 years. Why everything is changing so very fast, And then there are several factors that continuously constantly drive global developments, like access of resources, as I said before, climate change and global trade patterns, which is so important. We should not underestimate all the activism which are on the climate change. Should not be done in a ridiculous way. It should be considered as very, very, let's say, very difficult, a very difficult issue, which we have to manage, And then there are developments which are specified to our current time, like digitalization and radical politicians. which also brings a kind of, let's say, difficulty, or let's say challenges. We call them challenges. You know? So I have already said, this is my interview, in my interview with the Business 24, the issues facing Romania are by no means trivial, but they are also not entirely new. And infrastructure development, said before, talent retention, these are for me fundamental, absolutely fundamental. And this we have to really, I would really love to understand. If I would have politicians, let's say, on a high-ranking status, I will ask them a question, what are you doing in these two regard? Would be very nice to understand what they will say about this. I'm sure they have an answer for that, you know. And I think that the key challenge is these structural issues come on top of global shifts, which I have already mentioned. Look, Scandinavian countries are great examples. I just said before Singapore, Switzerland, but Scandinavians, they just do a great job. Absolutely. And I think there can be copy a lot of good things. And ultimately, every society needs to do its own homework. Attracting foreign investment, legal certainty, public debt and talent retention, as I said before, build a social economic basis, and at the end, build trust.
Build trust. Thank you for trusting Romania. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for investing here. And thank you for the lesson you give us in this interview. And maybe you develop your trust in Romania, develop your potential investment, and maybe some friends of you will come with you and invest in Romania. You be the pioneer in this large potential field of Romania. Thank you, Mr. Cisullo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ruxandra, for having me here, giving me the chance also to have this kind of discussion with you, and for your time you spent with me.
Thank you.